Hey everybody, I'm Carla the Alberta Girl. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to use glass lids to can coffee cream. That's right, coffee cream. I know a lot of people are telling you you can't do it. Don't use glass lids, don't can dairy, whatever. You know what? Because you know what? Today I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's so easy you're actually going to laugh that you haven't done it sooner. Now, I understand that there are other ways to do things. Now, I'm not familiar with water bath canning cream. I'm just not. That's why I'm using a pressure canner. This is how I know how to do it. This is how I'm comfortable doing it. This is how I'm going to show you how to do it. Are there other ways to do it? Absolutely. I just don't know them. That's why we're not discussing them today. So let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, I've already cleaned all of my jars, filled them, and they are ready to go. I have all of my lids here ready to be put onto jars, and I've actually already wiped the rims down as well. Now, when it comes to coffee cream, you want to leave a more generous headspace. But you know what? We're fine how it is right now. And it's cold jar, so we're going to be putting cold water into our canner, which is empty right now. But we'll just leave that for right now. We're just going to get these lidded up. Oh, I'm going to have to redo that one. That's okay. Yeah, let's do that right now so we don't miss it. And when you're doing milk or coffee cream or whipping cream like I'm going to show you tomorrow, you only ever use water, and you do not use vinegar, you don't use vinegar to wipe your rims, but you also don't put it in your canner to prevent the whitening. You just don't. Very bad idea. You will end up with curdled milk. So we're just going to take a jar, lid down, and we're just going to do it one by one, and it's the same way. You're just going to pop that lid on, and they've been boiled for 15 minutes. Again, we want to do that so that we get a good seal, that the lids are sterilized. And you're just going to use three fingers tight, point of no resistance, and then about 1/4 of an inch. There are other methods. People will tell you crank it down all the way. They'll tell you crank it all the way tight, and then as tight as you can, and then back it off 1/4 turn. I don't like using that method for any number of different reasons. This way works for me, and I have a really high rate of success. So this is what I'm gonna stick with. And again, just 3 fingers tight. I'm gonna just do this as quick as we can. Now you're going to notice on this jar there is a little bit of discoloration right here. That's just from a label that somebody put on. I hate sticky tape on jars. I really do. Never fails. And feel free to be a little more aggressive with these jars. These are gems, don't forget, so we're not going to worry about it. But if you've got a different brand of jar, if you've got a wide mouth mason, if you've got a regular mouth mason that you're using glass lids, technique is exactly the same. Don't you deviate from anything. You just may need to be a little less aggressive. You may want to be a little more gentle. I don't know what your jars are like. And I like to line my lids up. You don't have to. Go. Go. Now, one of the benefits of having 2 counters is that you can have one cooling as one is starting to come to a boil. I, of course, wasn't paying attention because of everything that's going on in Ottawa right now, and I have boots on the ground down there, so I really wanted to make sure everybody was safe. There's a ton of arrests for people lawfully protesting, but Sockboy decided that he wants to play Alrighty, so here we are, almost done. There we go. We're just gonna, come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. Next thing we're gonna do so water's just moved off to the side here. We'll get that out of the way. This could probably get right off. Okay, so we've got our jars into the canner. We're just gonna add ourselves some cold tap water. And I'm actually going to take a, whoops, spilled a little bit here. I'm going to take one of these jars out so that I can actually get the water in without A, spilling it, but B, because the lids are still hot, I don't want any thermal shock. So I'm just going to take that one jar out. And again, my canner uses 3 quarts. You will obviously have to read your manufacturer's directions for best practice. And just like that, there is round 2. And next one. And then here we go, round 3. And there we have it. Okay. So now that we've got all of that in, we're going to put our last jar back in, just like so. And we're going to put this down. Okay, next thing we're going to do is put the lid on. I'm just going to do our quick pre-can check. Pardon me. Oh, it's the wrong way. There we go. And lock it down. And because we're starting with cream and I just know how my stove gets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it out on medium here for about 15 minutes to start. Let's do this. Here we go. I'm going to do 15 minutes and then I'm going to crank it at that point. So I'll be back in a few. And we are setting the timer for 10 minutes. We've got a nice vent going. We've got a little bit of extra water, and that was just because we had all of that water in the canner, that 3 quarts. We probably could have gotten away with a little less. Not to worry though, we're doing fine. I'll just grab a tea towel and we'll just clean it right up. So we've got the clock set for 10 minutes, and we will see you back in 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, and you see I just dropped that towel, and all we're going to do is literally full tilt, drop that pressure regulator on, and we're going to let it rock. This time, though, with it being coffee, cream, milk, dairy, we're going to leave the temperature on full. We're going to let this rock. As soon as it starts rocking, we're going to give it 90 seconds. Some people turn it right off at that point. I'm choosing not to. You do what you feel best to do. I like mine about 90 seconds, so we're just going to let it go for 90. As soon as it starts rocking, that is. So you can see there's just a bit of water accumulating on the bottom here, just like that. Oh, why is this not focusing? DJI, you got to do something about this. And that is all we're going to do. We're just going to let it steam. And now we see it rocking. So we're going to add 90 seconds to the clock, and that is it. We are going to let it go for 90 seconds. We're not turning the heat down. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to let it rock for about 90 seconds. So 1 minute to go. And you're gonna see I've also got my second one going. That's for all of those, the last of the coffee cream. We're gonna get those going just as soon as this is off the stove. And 10 more seconds. Okay, now that it's ended, now we're going to turn the stove off and we're going to move this over now. Really carefully move it over. That's all we have to do. And then we're going to let it sit like here for the next 30 minutes or so. And we're just going to give it about, like I said, that 30 minutes to cool down, come back to zero pressure. We don't want it rocking. We want our little safety nipple to come down, and then I will show you what we do next. Okay, it's been 15 minutes, and we're just going to turn the heat on the second pot of cream up to full. This one's still going. It's still, you can still hear it hissing. And honestly, it's probably going to take a little longer than 30 minutes. So we'll see what happens. All right, it's venting or started to vent. There we go. And part of the reason that this one vents cleaner, so to speak, than this one is simply because this one is taller. You can see the height difference. So this one's got that little bit of extra space between where the water ends down here versus the water with the jars in was, you know, kind of halfway up the side. Anyways, now we're going to let it vent for 10 minutes, and this one is actually already done. So we're just going to take the pressure regulator off and open it up, and we are going to, let's do it this way. Maybe this will work. We're going to open it up, and then I will tighten the lids, put them down. Open it away from yourself, always. And then just, there we go. You're going to get a little bit of siphoning. This was at a really hard rolling boil for a little while there. And I take them out with support underneath just in case something slips or moves or shifts or whatever. You do not want a boiling hot jar of liquid, anything, falling on you. Or falling near you and exploding. That would just be very bad. There we go. And that is all you have to do. So that's round one. And same thing with the water. We're just going to let it sit and cool overnight. And this is what I mean by siphoning. You're going to get some siphoning into your canning. Don't even worry about it. You just don't even think about it. I am going to rinse this out right away. You don't want that. It's going to be sweet and you don't really want that fragrance in your house. Maybe you do. I don't know. But this is all the jars so far. So that's that. And like I was saying, the best thing about it is this lid is indefinite. It's going to last forever. And here's what I mean by, you can tell it's been a good seal. Oh, this camera's driving me nuts. You can just see it starting to kind of bubble. Okay, we're going to wait until this one is done in 5 more minutes and we'll go from there. And just like the last one, we're just going to start this up. It's got 90 seconds on the clock and we're just going to let it go until it starts to jiggle, 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 jaggle. Never mind, now it's jiggling, now we're going to turn it on to 90 seconds. And there you go. We're just going to leave that off to the side here for the next half an hour. We're just going to like I said, that's going to be a half an hour. And then we're just going to take them out and do the same like we did over here. Tighten the lids down. We are done. That is all we gotta do. And just look at that. We got all of that cream. There's 13 quart jars. I probably could have gotten a 14th, but I'm gonna just keep it in the fridge and just use it up. And so this cream was $1 a liter, or 99 cents a liter. So yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you get it on sale and can the ever-loving daylights out of it, right? And then when it's ready to be used, you just get one of these from my store, and it just fits on top. So you're going to take the glass lid off when you open it up. You're going to take the glass lid off. You're going to take the rubber ring or the gasket that's already here. You're just going to put this on top and you're going to put the lid the ring back on, crank it down really tight. And then you're just going to use a pop lid, an old pop lid, and plunk it on. Now, I mean, bear with me here. I'm doing this one-handed, so it's a little bit off. But literally, you're just going to tuck it on like that, and you're done. It's that easy. And you're just going to doop, 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 just like that. And just like that, you're going to have a lid that you can open and close as you need, toss it in the fridge, and you're done. It is so handy. I can't get over. This was probably the best idea I've ever come up with. And a super big shout out to my buddy Joel for actually being able to do the printing of it. We're so excited to be able to offer this to you guys. As soon as everything is ready, we're going to get this going. But we'll talk about that another time. Right now, I just wanted to show off this coffee cream. Alrighty. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, everybody, welcome back. It has been about 18 hours since I pulled all of the cream, this is the coffee cream, out of the canner. And there have been a couple of little, like, what is going on here? This one in particular, again, I apologize for the lack of clarity. DJI, I don't know what's going on here with this camera. Nothing you've helped me with has worked. Anyways, when you pick it up, it's solid, so I'm not worried at all whatsoever that these aren't going to seal. However, when you can cream, you may notice something inside that looks kind of like that. I don't know if you can see it that well, but it looks kind of, I don't know, cheesy almost. And really, that is just the milk fat. Now, when you go to store it, you're just going to give it a few gentle turns like this. You don't want to give it well, I mean, if you wanted to, you could give it a good hard shake, not too hard for too long. You're going to make butter. But you just want to give it a good little rock to kind of reincorporate it. But right now, all we're going to do is take the lids off. Take the rings. Sorry, guys. We're taking the rings off and we're going to test. This is the first test to make sure that every jar has sealed correctly and has sealed firmly. The next thing we're going to do, like I said, is we're going to wash these jars because there was a little bit of siphoning. Again, it's not a big deal. It's just what happens when you boil liquids in jars. But we will wash these up and I will bring you back in a minute. So all you're doing right now, all you're going to do, take the ring off the jar. You're going to pick up the jar by the lid, by the gasket. And if it doesn't come off, give it a good shake. And if it's still not coming off, it's a good seal. Now, having said that, you are going to put this into your cold room for a few days. And in maybe a day or two, you're going to go back down and you're going to randomly double check. Because if you had a false seal, like this one, I'm worried might be a false seal just because of the amount of siphoning that's happened. Having said that, I'm going to test this again in a few days, and then I'm going to test it again maybe in a week. And after about a week in your cold room, if the lid is still on, you're pretty much assured that it's a good seal. And the reason being is that week, if there was something that didn't seal correctly, that week is going to allow the spoilage. And that spoilage is going to cause gas, which is going to cause the seal to break, which is going to show you that you had a bad seal, which is why we no longer use the rings to store our jars with. So I'm going to get these done and I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, and everything has now been washed and is just sitting here in the sink drying. Every lid has passed so far. I have no issues with anything failing so far. There's 12 in here and I've just got the other one drying on my cooling rack right now. As soon as they're dry, they'll just be going downstairs into my cold room and we'll call it a day. So yeah, everything has sealed really well. I mean, I'm really pushing hard on these. And I mean, obviously they're going to, if you pull hard enough, they will open. You just, usually if it's just the weight, it's gonna be fine. And you can see they're really pretty and I'm really impressed. I'm so glad I've done this and I'm so glad I've learned. And I'm so incredibly delighted that I've been able to share this with you. If you have any questions, please by all means email me and let me know or comment below and I'll do my best to answer everybody in a timely manner. Do join my canning lid group on Facebook, Carla's Gem Canning Lids Solutions. I'll put a link in below. In the meantime, if there's anything you have questions about, do let me know and I will do my best. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you've learned something and that you were able to take advantage of lids that you can find locally, or maybe you already have and you just weren't confident to use them. By all means, I'm happy to answer any questions. But in the meantime, don't forget to join my canning group, and I hope you like, share, and subscribe this video, and it helps me to keep a roof over my head and beer in the fridge and coffee cream on the shelves. See you all next time.